All right, let's dive into it, shall we? Bant Calix. This is a mostly blue-white enchantments deck that's looking to kind of control the game with tools like Baffling End, Seal Away, and Cast Out, and Elspeth Conquers Death, and then eventually close games out with Sigil of the Empty Throne here, a card that was introduced to Historic via one of the Historic anthologies, as well as some copies of Shark Typhoon. We have a small green splash for Calix, Hand of Destiny, and Enchantress presence as a way to generate card advantage in our enchantment-based control deck. One thing that I'm not 100% certain of is if you look at this, we are notably not playing any copies of... We're notably not playing any copies of Wrath of God in the main. I think there's a chance that our control deck should maybe just be maining 4 of these. So it's something I'm going to think about as we play through. I'm interested to see how things like Goblins and Red-Black Pyromancer / Dreadhorde Arcanist feel without something like Wrath of God. And this will likely be something we'll swap into the main if we feel like we're really going to struggle there. One inclusion that I'm a little bit weary of, but I haven't cut to start, is we've got 4 copies of Starfield Mystic here in the main deck, which this is a ramp spell in some situations, so it can be flexible in that means. It also gets bigger when our enchantments die. However, Starfield Mystic being a card that we're playing kind of gives up what I would refer to as virtual card advantage. So, for example, if you look at our deck, creature removal is pretty bad against our deck in general, right? Like, we don't have many things that people are interested in killing. And Starfield Mystic here specifically, I don't really feel like the upside that we're going to gain from this card likely offsets the fact that this is going to turn on our opponents, like Claim the Firstborns and stuff like that. So I feel like this is a card to keep an eye on. If we decide we want Wrath of God in the main, this is probably the card we want to swap out. Someone asking about spell lands. I don't know, which spell lands do we want to play? I don't think there's any that immediately slot into here super easily. We need to play actual basic planes in order to play Birth of Meletis, and I don't really want to cut dual lands for single colored things. It does tend to die, yeah, exactly. One of the reasons why control decks in Magic often play well is because they are control decks in Magic generate what I refer to as virtual card advantage by blanking things that are good traditionally against mid-range and aggro decks, and playing something like Starfield Mystic basically gives up that bonus that we have. Okay. So you have Hinterland Harbor tapped on 1 here into a 2-drop on 2. Opponent playing Lures of the Dreamland here, so likely going to get to see against the Pyromancer Dreadhorde Arcanist deck right away. Could also be playing blue-white enchantments, but my hand's just a keeper either way, regardless of which of those 2 they're playing. So, Starfield, to note, is looking good here, right? I get to go Starfield into Search for Azcanta, into Birth, into Seal this away. Which is pretty nice. Lee Moon Civi, thank you for the 14 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. So you get to get Thoughtseize twice here. I assume they're going to take Seal away. And this is so... The person that originally submitted this had a bunch of Seal aways in the deck, and I actually split Seal away with Baffling End, and I think there's a real chance we should just be on 4 Baffling Ends. Imagine if this Seal away had been Baffling End here, we would have gotten to exile this before it got to Thoughtseize us. Which would have been very good. So, I think you should avoid calling what Trump does dog whistles, because at this point, like, telling the white supremacists to stand by, that's not a dog whistle. That's screaming it out loud for everyone to hear. Dog whistles are supposed to be quiet. Trump's been saying the quiet parts loud for a while now. I think I'd rather take Pyromancer here than the Arcanist. Quiet, Kieran. Thanks for the 16 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Now, the good news is our deck does have 2 copies of Rest in Peace and 3 Grafdigger's Cage in the sideboard. So, we're going to have a lot of hate cards bringing in this matchup. Well, Trump's as capable of being quiet as he is being intelligent. That's a good line. We talked about Trump admitting he doesn't pay taxes. I mean, sure. There's a lot of people that don't pay taxes, and they're all problems, including Mr. Trump. They're only at 3 cards in the bin. If I keep this cast out, I can cast out Kroxa after they escape it. So I think I'm going to go ahead and Baffling End, Dreadhorde Arcanist. Credit where credit is due. This Starfield Mystic has made us incredibly efficient so far this game. Worth noting, Baffling End better than Seal Away there, though. Alright, well, we're gonna lose this anyway, so you might as well exile a 1-1, huh? He was quiet when they asked him to announce White's presence. That's true. It's very true. It's a good draw. Baffling End. Quite good, chat. Good chance we should just be on 4 of these in the 75. Land? Oh, I don't even need a land, because I cost 5 with the Starfield Mystic. Alright, I'm coming around on old Starfield, chat. It's a Wrath of God matchup. I know I just sang his praises, but I think I'm cutting him here. Because my opponent's likely to leave things like Claim in. I'd like those to be mostly dead draws, I think. So extra removal, Graveyard Hate, Wrath of God all seems good. Starfield is the best rampant growth I've ever seen. That is a good descriptor for sure. Maybe I trim Calix here, because I'm probably going to have a hard time protecting him. We just leave Enchantress present and search for Azcanta as our sources of card advantage. I think I like that. Let's give this a try. Maybe Seal Away is just too awkward. Would I rather have Seal Away or Calix? I'd probably rather have Seal Away. We'll be entering maintenance soon. Alright. You don't mulligan hands that have lands and spells against the Thoughtseize deck, chat. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Surprise Omnath ban. That would be funny. Good draw. We are 2 days after a ban announcement, so they emergency banned Felidar Guardian 2 days after doing a ban announcement. They like did a no update, and then they were like, we saw lots of data in 2 days that showed us we were wrong, so we're also banning Felidar Guardian. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that happen again. Opponent missed a point of damage by targeting the wrong one with that. Let's go ahead and get Enchantress presence into play here so we can generate some card advantage. Think we're discarding lands at this point. Again, kind of wishing this Seal Away was a Baffling End, so I could just Baffling End this proactively next turn. We get a lot of looks at it, at least. That's just a Wrath of God. So this is just the funniest bug. So, when my Pro Controller is plugged in, and I don't know why my Pro Controller is relevant to Magic Arena, it randomly pops the options menu up as it pleases. That's my Pro Controller that we were playing Horizon Zero Dawn with saying hi. Alright, so do I Wrath of God and just make them escape this again next turn? I think the answer is no, actually. I think I'd rather Omen and dig for Baffling End here. And for the record, there's no broken buttons or joysticks or anything on this. It's literally just the fact that it's plugged in makes it like nothing's being pushed or triggered on this controller when the menu starts randomly popping up. It just does it. Which is interesting since a lot of the popular Unity input libraries can't read a plugged-in Pro Controller because it provides no input. Only Bluetooth Pro Controllers send input. That's weird. Is it a Razer Pro Controller? It's whatever the official Nintendo Switch branded Pro Controller is. It's funny that someone mentioned that it behaves differently when their controller is connected by Bluetooth. I should set up the Bluetooth pairing to this. Although if I set up the Bluetooth pairing, then it won't Bluetooth pair to my Switch. Yeah, the only noob sticks in my house currently are for Nintendo Pro controllers, so. Come seal away. Come seal away. Come seal away with me. Bluetooth is less responsive. Yeah, I'll probably just leave it as the plug. What's the plan for Portal 2? I don't know. So I was originally going to do it last night, but then I had a blistering headache and I fell asleep. When I fell asleep, I mean went to bed because I had a headache. So I'm not sure. Maybe we'll plan to do the Portal 2 finale on Sunday. I need to look at my schedule and talk to my boss. Being able to wear your children is excellent, G2s. Thanks for the 7 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Good thing Fracturing Gust isn't legal, right? Pretty sure I'm just Wrath of Godding these. Am I? Let's cycle this to start and see what we get. Yeah, it's gonna clean the board up. I can't currently use their graveyard because I have a Grafdigger's Cage. Look at that, chat! Skillfully milled the Bedevil. Skillfully milled the Bedevil that was on top of their deck. Those of you taking notes at home. No, I went to bed before the debate started. My lovely wife let me sleep from 6 p.m. last night to 6 p.m. this morning. It was glorious. Alright, one rest in peace, please. Take some redraws out of rest in peace. So, I think I'm actually not playing out this Enchantress presence because I would like to not risk decking out. So we need to find a Shark Typhoon or a way to end the game here before we deck. Perfect. Sigil. I agree the game is over. Guttural Response? Yeah, I could see that being a card that could be okay for Historic. Yeah, this is fine. You have to remember, Trump's not just a Trump problem, Jorg. 35% of the American population voted for that man. I'm really going to be interested to see how many historic decks people register for the grand finals are just 4-color Omnath with the cards they banned in Standard. 35% of the population or 35? No, 35% of the population, Kyle Galloway. The 35% stat includes non-voters. This does not stop Genesis Ultimatum, right? Gosh, this matchup does not seem winnable, huh? Yeah, Trump lost the popular vote, so I believe it was factoring in non-voters in the United States. He got like something like 35% of the population to vote for him. Players can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries. Yeah, so this stops creatures, but lands and planeswalkers and stuff still enter. Handrude, thank you for the 49 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. There are a lot of Omnath in Historic right now. So, one of the saving graces of Historic as a format is that the arena ladder tends to be pretty casual, especially in the percentages in Mythic. Like, people who are in the percentages in Mythic are largely just playing for fun. They're not really tryharding. And there's enough archetypes that exist in this format that even though the 4-color Omnath deck's obnoxious, especially with Uro, it's like there's still plenty of other things people are playing. What am I supposed to cut here? I need to cut 3 more things. Cast out seems slow. Mature Birth. Geek with a beard, MTGA. Thanks for the brand new tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Speaking of Historic, I should probably start putting the next open command in the title. Our next open is going to be this weekend. And if you're interested in playing some Historic without Uro, be sure to sign on up for that. We're going to have a bunch of people playing some modified Historic this weekend. I'm going to lead on Hinterland Harbor, so if I draw planes, I can Omen onto. I'd rather dig for an untapped land here. So we get to go Starfield Mystic here into Sigil of the Empty Throne, and maybe if we can get Sigil going quickly, we can win the game. We'll see. We could get Omnath this turn. Thank you for your service, Abyssal. Anybody out there who's currently watching this, if you live in the United States and have not completed census paperwork, make sure you do that. You can do it online, it's very quick. Alex White is fired. Thank you for the 7 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Sigil tokens dying to Omnath triggers seem bad. Omnath triggers don't hit creatures. They hit planeswalkers and your opponent. Did Twitch bug? Sometimes Twitch bugs. I think I fixed it. Okay, yeah, we're in the magic category again. Got it. I think we're basically just holding these for Ugin. Or that. Yeah, let's do that. I have a second one. That says they can't cast more Uros. We just banned Uro for the rest of the game. Yeah, I'm really interested to see what the feedback on this weekend's event looks like, and what the viewer count looks like, how subs feel on the survey. I really hope doing our own modified formats goes over well with the community. So that way, we're not just at the mercy of Wizards constructed formats. I think I'm leaving how we boarded. Hopefully, let's just draw our Erasures again. Erasure is definitely the only way we ever beat Ugin in this deck. It's our first match. It's our second match. We beat Red-Black Arcanist in the first one. It's a good draw. Can name Ugin the Spirit Dragon and say you can't cast that. Little risky putting their cantrip under the Banishing Light. Because if they have a piece of enchantment removal, they get to draw a card again, which is a little scary. So I think the plan this turn is Starfield Mystic into Gideon's Intervention named Ugin. Yep. They have dispute. This is bad. I can't play around the third dispute. It's not an option. Any play I make there into dispute is bad.
I am a scion of the furious god of fate. Clothis, show me my path.
Hey, Steam Plugger, thank you for the 30 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Dispute is just like showing to the world that bad Mana Leak is still really good, huh? Oh, right. And then this lets them hit Calix now. Brutal. Morning, Tog. Okay, that answers Uro. This answers Omnath at least.
Look skyward and receive the gifts of the gods.
Okay. So we're in this game until they draw Ugin. Yeah. Ugin is easily the hardest to beat card in their entire archetype for fair decks, and I don't think it's particularly close. Maybe we want some Disdainful Stroke out of the sideboard. Val, thanks for sticking on as a tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I don't really have anything I really want to cut. Maybe Stroke's better than Teferi. Ugin's a card that comes from a time when 8 mana was a lot of mana. Yeah, it's the truth. 8 mana is, like, pretty trivial with a lot of the designs that occur today. Do you like the colorless Monument deck in Historic? I've never played with or against it, so it's hard to have an opinion on it. Bottom Sigil. We'll find another with our card advantage and cantrips, hopefully. Yeah, I really hope Standard is playable, because Historic's been wearing on me. There's just so much Uro constantly. Remember when a standard card making it into Modern and Legacy was a big deal? Yeah, right? I miss the days of, like, going through spoiler pages and finding those couple of cards that might see fringe play in the non-rotating formats, instead of the non-rotating formats basically getting rewritten every new set. Wizards did not ban Uro in Historic. We in Hoaglandia have banned Uro in our Historic Open this weekend, though. I'm excited to post a comparison tweet comparing the metagame of our Hoaglandia Modified Historic Open with the metagame of the seasons, the Grand Finals.
The land shall conquer you.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance we see historic bans after the Grand Finals. It's just, again, the reaction time is bad. The reaction time is bad and feels bad. And ban Omnath in a standard open. We'll cross that bridge if we get there. I'm gonna offer it as an option, but I would be incredibly surprised if subscribers vote for a standard open. So we're gonna have a second open in October, and the format for the second open is gonna be voted on by my Twitch subs. I think I'm actually into hitting my land drops here. All of these seem fine. So we'll do this, exile Nissa, we'll cast Baffling End. That's super unfortunate. I can't Baffling End this Hydroid Crisis now.
Fight on without me.
It's rough. Yeah, I don't know. Someone asked for Modified Standard. We'll see how well Modified Historic goes this weekend. If Modified Historic this weekend is not well received, I probably will not offer that as an option for the following event. So again, if you're someone that likes the idea of Modified Historic, make sure you tune in this weekend. And let me know on the sub-survey. There's a lot of different ways it could go. I'm interested to see how the data pans out. So I asked my thoughts on the Runeterra patch. Yeah, it seems fine. The fact that they nerfed Radiant Guardian's power is actually kind of neat, because it means I can play it with Babbling Berg and Luxash now. I do scary games for a variety stream. I'll entertain the idea of anything. If you're interested in submitting a game, you can use the form on my site, just like for deck submissions. We'll see. I think the people saying that anything got overbuffed without playing games are being stupid. People often just like assuming they know how things are gonna work before they play games with them is like super common in Magic and Runeterra, and like people should chill the fuck out and play some games before they decide something's too good or too bad. Nah, I have no desire to learn a MOBA. For my variety stuff, we're gonna stick to puzzle and turn-based strategy games and RPGs. Yeah, I agree the latest patch, Lee Sin's pretty frustrating, but I'm also not super surprised that that didn't change that didn't get changed right away because of the way their patch cycles work. So if there's Lee Sin changes, I'd expect them on the next one. Think we're dead, huh? Just super dead to Nissa. At least we didn't die to Ugin, I suppose. I mean, I just like play games for fun, and playing a game that depends on my teammates not sucking doesn't sound like a ton of fun. Sounds like the opposite of fun. Think this is a rest in peace matchup. Wrath of God definitely sounds good. Again, Starfield Mystic last game looked okay, but it turned on my opponent's Disfigure, so I think it's coming out here, especially because I'm boarding in Wrath of God. Probably just want these Erasures, because they're probably an Ugin deck. I play Final Fantasy Tactics. I did not. I don't think I've ever played any of the different Final Fantasy IP games. Bite me! Thanks for the 16 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Scavengling Ooze. They're a little bit more mid-rangey. Wonder if they're not going up as tall as Ugin. You see that CDPR are recording Cyberpunk 2077 team to mandatory crunch 12 plus hours a day for the next 6 to 12 weeks rather than delaying the game. That's awful. And they went to 6-day work weeks. That's gross. I love that Twitch I love that Twitch lets me easily check the message history of users now, because when someone posts something that annoys me, I'm like, I think I'm gonna ban them. I can like click into their history and scroll back and see that they've already asked that exact same annoying, pointless question more than once, and that yes, I should in fact just ban them. It's good quality beats. Okay, bottoming Calix and keeping presence. I don't think I can give them a turn with Nissa. I think we just want to Conquer's Death here and take them off of her. This card was a miserable addition to this format. It's so offensive. It's so offensive, chat. Free counter spells suck. Full stop. They just create, like, normal counter spells create kind of crummy gameplay patterns. Free counter spells create awful gameplay patterns. I think I'm putting that on top. So what's our hope here? Our hope is no Ugin. We deploy Sigil this turn. Next turn we go Presence, Omen, and get to like roll off a bunch of angels. Yeah, I agree. Force. It's just a frustrate. They're just frustrating to play against. They're one of those things where, like, you can... Normal counterspells, I think, are at least okay, because you can, like, make sequencing decisions around them a lot of the time, and free counterspells, you just don't have that. And, like, obviously, they're giving up tempo the following turn, or they're giving up an extra card or whatever, but there's so much card advantage attached to everything in this game now that those really aren't costs. Just like this card costing 5 mana the following turn, that's really not a cost in these decks and how much mana that they have, right? It's a non-thing. So I boarded in 3 copies of Wrath of God. So we've got 2 looks at Wrath of God with this and 3 looks at Wrath of God with this. So if we could find one of those 3 sweepers, we might make it out of this this turn alive still. Is that part where they impulse her and show us another Pact of Negation? Just a thought seize deal. Well, they don't have black mana. It's good for us. Hey, 5 shots, chat. 5 shots. Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss. Hit me, dealer. Hit me, dealer. Omen can't draw. Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just watch just fucking misery. Just like prison cards into whatever. I can't drive. Thanks for the 55 months, Dwight. Thanks for the 30 months, JMK. Yeah, my website's always up to date, JMK. That's the goal. The goal is that if decks are no longer a fit on the website, I delete them. If I don't think a deck any longer fits into a category up there. I know we aren't really updating. Well, there's no standard decks on my site. So just some Portal 2. Nah, if this set ends up sucking, we'll just call it a morning. Need to help the kids with school soon anyways. Can you explain your tweet about constructed events? I don't know what tweet you're referring to. Yes, Twisted Fizz is currently at the top of the Runeterra deck queue, and will get played this evening, assuming no one else donates for anything. Oh, the monkey paw tweet? Oh, so like, for a long time, I've wished that we didn't have a bunch of shitty limited in high-level constructed, but it feels like that wish was granted, but it was granted by a monkey paw. That just like, okay, everything's constructed now, but constructed sucks for the last year and a half. Like, you got it. Are you happy? The answer is no. I am not. Here's what you asked for, idiot. Have some constructed everything. Everything's constructed, but you also have no desire to play constructed. Calix seems bad against the Questing Beast deck. Wrath of God and Banishing Light seem good. Shark Typhoon's probably slow. It's gonna get stomped. Morning, Jace. Fry. Yeah. That just happened. For folks that are new, whenever you have a question about any event going on in the Magic world, you can usually just come in here and type in a command for that event, and there'll be a thought in chat. Things like the Walking Dead cards, for example. Alright, well, we got a clean answer to that one at least. Anchor's gonna keep that, and we'll Conquer's Death, the Questing Beast. Okay, and I think at this point, I'm going to go ahead and Wrath of God. Because this is going to bring back something next turn. Yeah. So we get like a 3 for 2 on that. And then Conquer's Death's going to bring back our Dork next turn. Shifty Boy's a little scary. Well, poop. Yeah, I should have sacked this during my upkeep to scry and flip the Azcanta. Am I dead? Dead to a lot, opponent. Today on Never Not Dead to Cleave. I don't like that show, but it's always on, so what can you do? Asking the real questions. Why did I leave Cleave Legal and Modified Historic? Because I didn't want to ban that much, because Cleave's not in any of the decks that are at the top of Historic right now. Kind of sucks to play against, and you often just die when they have it, but like, I don't know. If I banned all the cards that just kind of suck to play against, like, I'd be gutting half the format. Magic's got a lot of pretty toxic designs that exist in C-play. There's so much Uro in this format. Oh, and this game board still has the volume till loud 6 patches later. Can't do it, chat. Do I give them a turn with Lotus Cobra? Sure. Attorney liked the idea of Gladiator format. Good! If you like the idea of Gladiator, you should vote for it for the second open next month. I'm gonna have Hoaglandian's Choice format for the second open in October. It's gonna go out in the sub poll at the start of next month. Well, that's a good idea. Could someone make a mod command explaining what Gladiator is? So, next turn would be... Next turn would be their Genesis Ultimatum turn, so I want to kill this turn. The Real Shard, thank you for the 20 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Come into a land tier.
Foolish mortals have unbalanced our world. Return to your place, interloper.
Interloper.
The stars will light our way.
All right. So this is looking good for us until they Ugin us next turn, right? I don't know if I'm supposed to play around Ugin here. I feel like the answer is no.
The patterned future appears before me.
Sometimes lucky. No Ugin. Definitely bringing in our Strokes and our Erasure and our Gideon's intervention to name Ugin. I guess we keep this. It needs some land, but it's got cast out as double cantrips here, so we have some redraws. All right, and now with this draw, we'll lead on Hinterland Harbor on 1 so we can Omen on 2. The Elemental, the 4-color play, the Legend, the Omnath. Thanks for the 20 months, Moldylocks. I feel you. I'm not feeling magic. It's been a tough last little bit. Virgil, thanks for the 21 months. Thanks for the 12 months. So many birds. I appreciate that. Welcome back. That was a turn 4, Ugin. Thank you very much. Not really, Space Martin. We just got run over by Gruul. You know what? I should have kept the 3rd land and bottomed the cast out probably, so I could go presence into Omen. Nailed it. Yeah, it definitely largely feels like my opponent and I are just, like, playing different formats, I think is an accurate assessment. Like, the power level of what I'm doing and the power level of what they're doing are they're just not comparable. If we get really fortunate and their deck doesn't work, we can maybe be okay. Like, game 1 that we won, they just didn't do anything and they died. Like, maybe we'll have another game like that. But, like, if my opponent's deck is functioning and my deck is functioning, my opponent's deck is running us out and it's not close. Alright, I mean, you know? You just need more Baffling Ends. When Conqueror's Death came out, I remember thinking this does too much, and now I'm looking at it and goes, this is a bit slow. Yeah. Hello, Jeff. I'm very excited to play the Outlandia Open tomorrow at 11 a.m. I'm excited that you banned her, so my rogue strategy build up, build them. God bless, Bob. Tomorrow? Saturday, Bob. Saturday. Not tomorrow. It's 3 days. Bob, do you know what day of the week it is? That's okay. I don't really know what day of the week it is either. Man, we're gonna get Ugin next turn. It's gonna suck, chat. Oh, we didn't get Ugin. Hey, Tater. Thanks for keeping me around. I appreciate it. I don't know. We win when their deck doesn't do anything. It's so like anticlimactic, right? Like, I don't know. Just like even the games we won weren't particularly satisfying. Like, we only won because their deck was completely non-functional. I will say this, Starfield Mystic is growing on me. This card's been very good in the games that we played. I definitely feel like Baffling End has been much better than Seal Away. Yeah, we basically just sat there and played Go Fish, right? Like, do you have the Ugin? Go Fish? Alright, kill you. Which, honestly, is probably... It's probably a reason to just, like, play a bunch of Disdainful Strokes, right? Like, if like, we're just playing Go Fish, and they only have a couple of things we care about, being able to counter those things consistently seems really good and important, right? Shark Typhoon's been pretty underwhelming. Honestly, I think I kind of almost just want a bunch of Sigil of the Empty Throne. Like, this card closing out the game really quickly seems super reasonable. A few of the games we've been winning is because we just, like, throw this down and then make a bunch of 4/4s. We could put a couple Aether Gusts in the sideboard too. Gruul felt hard, and that card's really good against Gruul. Obviously, it doesn't tag exactly Ugin, but it's like fine against Ramp, right? Let's make a couple of changes. Play another match or two before we call it a day. Opponent's playing Wellspring, which probably means mono red. I know this is... I guess I could be the Jund deck too. I know I have 2 tap lands here, but I've got double births. That sounds good. Spin Effects, thanks for the 10 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. BW Panda, thanks for the 3rd of a year. Good morning, folks. Catching us at the tail end of our first segment today. Apologies for not being live last night, by the way. It was like... was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I had a headache, and I took a nap, and I could not get rid of it, and then I woke up and I ate some dinner, and then I ended up just going to bed at like 6 o'clock last night and sleeping for 12 hours. Which, based on the feedback from the debate, I'm glad that I wasn't live while that was happening. I think Trevor Noah put it best, which Trevor Noah, if you don't follow him on Twitter, he's a great follow. Does the Daily Show on Comedy Central. There's no undecided voters left in America at this point. There's people who are going to vote against fascism, and then people who are undecided or independent. They're Trump voters that are just smart enough to know they shouldn't say that out loud. They're Trump supporters who have an ounce of shame left to know that supporting that man is shameful. Having a headache and watching the debate was basically the same thing anyways. Fair. Yeah, Starfield showing that it's worth its slot again. Big agree, he says before it gets claimed the firstborn. Like, if they don't claim our Starfield this turn, next turn we get to go Sigil in to search for Azcanta and start pumping out 4/4s. Holy guacamole tacos. Thank you for the 17 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. And this, honestly, this is such a good example of why I think banning Claim the Firstborn was a great thing to do for our event this weekend. Our opponent here is destroying our creatures. The opponent's archetype does not need Claim the Firstborn to have an incredibly favorable matchup against things trying to play creatures. Mayhem Devil, Cat Oven, Priest of the Forgotten Gods, all of these things absolutely destroy creature-based decks. Sphinx, thank you for the 13 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. And that's why I really think all of the bans that we have, Muxus, Uro, and Claim the Firstborn this weekend, these are all bans that are good because they make decks that are really good in this format worse without making them unplayable. And that should be the goal if Wizards actually cared to balance their formats. It shouldn't just be a, is this deck overplayed and has a super high win rate? It's, can we make these best decks slightly weaker so that way other decks that are less tiered can be competitive and people can feel inspired and compelled and rewarded for brewing? Because I definitely don't think the current historic format feels super rewarding for brewing. And this is something for people that have followed my content for a long time. I've been playing Magic for 2 decades. I've been playing competitive Magic for probably close to a decade at this point. New Phyrexia. And something Wizards consistently doesn't do is things like that. They basically, they only look at the numbers. And if something isn't offensive by the numbers, they leave it alone. They don't have an appropriate human element to how they manage their formats. It took players like myself and others quitting Magic and stopping streaming Magic for a while for them to finally address Teferi Time Raveler. Like, there's no way that card would have ever gotten banned if lots of people hadn't spoken up about it. No Wrath for this matchup. Maybe it's a Wrath matchup. I don't know. They have ovens and cats, and it's not really good against that. I think I'd rather just have spot removal. Yeah, it took Pioneer events not firing for months for them to address it there because, you know, Inverter only had a 51% win rate, so it's fine. And honestly, that's one of the things to plug the other card game I play, Runeterra. That's the big difference between the people that manage Runeterra and the people that manage Magic. Sorry, my desk is currently messed up, so I need to put it all the way down to reset it. Stupid piece of crap. The big difference between the folks that manage Runeterra and the folks that manage Magic is that the Runeterra people that manage their formats have said, you know, the numbers influence their decisions, but they don't dictate them. Like, they understand how the formats feel to play is important. And one of the things that really came back to me that stood out that one of their lead balancers said in an interview was that if the player base believes something is true, it doesn't matter what the statistics on the back end say, you need to treat that thing like it's true. And the Inverter deck was a good example of that, right? Like, the player base in Magic was like, the Inverter deck sucks and it needs to go. And they're just like, well, no, the numbers don't justify that, so we can't do that. Just a refusal to listen and have nuance with your numbers. Yeah, I agree, Pervidia. Magic during GRN was great. Big agree. Alright, so Priest of the Forgotten Gods has got to go here, right? Does it? Does it, though? Yeah, I agree. I agree, Lost in Space. The fire design philosophy has created a really punishing environment where everything's so powerful you can't miss a beat or the game ends on the spot. Priest, that's true. I don't know. I kind of want to wait a turn to cast it out so I can cast it out by making a 4/4. Could be wrong. I never feel bad when these decks brick on Coco because these decks are incredibly greedy. All of these sack decks play like 25 or 26 hits. They deserve every Coco brick that they have. The reason I'm a tier 3 sub is that so I can punish Jeff to play MTG vicariously through him. Yep, I am confident that a large chunk of the viewers that are here are definitely here for to commiserate in the suffering. Especially for the Magic portion. I frequently have people leave comments that are just like, yeah, Jeff, I watch your Magic stuff, but don't play because you'll let me know if it's worth coming to play. I hope the community run formats that we're gonna be doing can be good. I hope that those could be something that we can manage together and have them be exciting that people will be engaged in. My worry, though, is that doing non-wizard sanctioned formats like Modified Historic or Gladiator Artisan is like, will be less successful. So hopefully I'm wrong in that assertion. I don't think this is a Wrath of God matchup. Maybe Conquer's Death is just too slow and I do want a couple of these. Aether Gust isn't amazing. Let's do that. I think that's slightly less true with the deeper card pool mono. I also think Gladiator should have the benefit of feeling less samesy than Brawl. The problem with Brawl is that not only do you not get to make really interesting choices in deck building because of the limited card pool, but the fact that your opponents get to like have their commander every game makes gameplay pretty repetitive, it seems like. I think the general ideas around Gladiator help address some of those issues. I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to let the community decide. I'm going to have 5 or 6 formats for subs to vote on. And Twitch subs on this channel are going to get to pick the format of the next Open this month. And then if that goes over successfully, people like voting on the format, and the format that gets picked is reasonable and successful, we'll make that a regular thing. Kind of make some amount of the Open's viewer choice format. Hey, Pansy. There's a brief moment where 3-color Chandra was in a good deck that I considered starting MTG. Pretty glad I just watched Jeff suffer. See the 11 months? Yeah, so my plan for I tweeted a picture out of it. It won't just be pick your favorite one. What is it going to be? I'm going to have like, dislike, love, hate. So these are, I don't know if these are going to be the exact formats I'm going to ask, but when I have people rank them, I'm going to have it so that way, like, if you're okay with a couple or a few and you hate the idea of a couple or a few, you can mark those. And then I will weight, love, hate, like, indifferent with different point values. And pick accordingly. And G. Giovanni, thank you for the 3 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I also will probably weight tier 2 and tier 3 subvotes a little bit heavier. Seems only appropriate in a democracy. Probably need to cast that one out, huh? Cage also shuts off Collected Company here, which is nice. I don't know that I like the idea of Brawl. Like I said, the idea of 1v1 Commander feels counterintuitive to me. Because, like, the purpose of Singleton is supposed to, like, make the gameplay patterns be more varied, but then you add this element where everybody's deck gets to play the same card every game, and I feel like those two ideas run counter to each other. So I think we're definitely going to offer Gladiator as an option this month. I don't think I intend to offer Brawl as an option. Feels like we're sliding into garbage time here unless they find an answer to Cage real quick. Don't say that. Sorry that I opened my mouth. Oh, also something that's super exciting is that MTG Melee, well, maybe not exciting for the rest of you, but MTG Melee has added support for feature matches to their website. So people who we tag as feature matches literally will not get to see the name of their opponent on the client, and they'll have to come to us to get the name of their opponent. So we won't have any more feature matches randomly starting or not being in the right area, because they literally just won't be able to find out who they're playing against until they get to the right spot. So that should hopefully help smooth out some of the last couple of issues we've had. Does that mean you have to delay showing pairings until you pick feature matches? Yeah, that's something we already do, Tobias. Hooch is the best thing to competitive Magic in 2020. I mean, it's definitely the best thing for Magic coverage in 2020. Cricket, thanks for the 26 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. I'm interested to see how one of the questions on my mind is, I saw Channel Fireball announced a giant tournament series, and I wonder if they're putting their own money up for that or if Wizards is helping back that, because it feels like them pumping 50 grand into $5 signups seems like a rough business venture. And I know Wizards backs things like the Red Bull event, so I wonder if they're also backing Channel Fireball doing that. Yeah, like, Channel Fireball theoretically has to have 10,000 people sign up for them to break even in prize money, which doesn't seem likely across 4 or 5 weekends. Meanwhile, no, they're paying out cash. Meanwhile, in Hoaglandia, Wizards doesn't even appreciate us enough to give me flipping arena gem codes. Bunch of assholes. Yeah, nine mana total here. I mean, Wizards treating me like garbage is nothing new. It's a long-standing thing. MTG Melee has a wait queue. I like having an entry fee on the tournaments. The entry fee on the tournaments goes to Cool Stuff Inc. It also means people are more likely to show up.
Wherever I go, I leave bodies in my wake.
Thanks to the 33 months trumpet. So when the opens didn't have an entry fee, we had a very large portion of players signing up and then dropping in the last 3 days because there's no reason for them not to. It's just like a free roll if you're a sub anyways. So by adding an entry fee, you have more likely that people that sign up actually show up and play. And again, like, the number of people playing in the tournament doesn't do anything for me personally. I'm not collecting dollars on those entry fees. Those are going to Cool Stuff Inc. to support the prize pool. And we're dead? I think we're dead, chat. I think we're literally dead this turn, right? They go sack of food, sack of food, sack of food. That puts us to 5. They sack this. It puts us to 3, makes another food. Not quite dead, but close. I don't know that that's strictly true. Oh, right, that does what too. Yeah, we're just dead. So, I feel like this last match is a good example of our deck just kind of not being good enough for historic. Like, while our deck's doing something that's kind of neat, the overall power level of what our deck is doing just doesn't really compare to the other decks that are good in the format. Like, the ramp deck, the sacrifice deck there, like that last game especially, we did our thing and they did their thing with some restrictions. Like, we even had Grafdigger's Cage out, and their deck with us having Grafdigger's Cage in play was still just more powerful than what we were doing, which is rough. Any restrictions for people entering in the Hoaglandia Opens? No. So Cool Stuff Inc. store credit is the prizes. So obviously the prizes are only something of value to you if you live in a place that Cool Stuff Inc. ships to, which was actually part of the reason why I reached out to Wizards to see if they could help us with prize support, and why I wanted Arena Gems to give out as prize support, you know, so I could encourage people playing in the tournaments to play more Magic Arena, because that's what I do. I'm good for their product, and I encourage lots of fucking people to play Magic Arena, but they're a bunch of petty pricks who can't get over the fact that I was mean to them once upon a time, many years ago. So you know what? I'm probably just gonna be mean pretty constantly now, because I just can't anymore. I'm so annoyed. It like I have all of these plans and stuff, and Cool Stuff Inc. approved a bunch of sweet things for next year. But if I'm being honest, the way they treat me makes me never want to turn on Magic Arena again, and makes me not, but like, running the events is a lot of extra energy and effort, and I am not inspired to do it. I don't feel like doing it anymore. I don't. It's crap. I'm really excited that Runeterra's gonna have competitive stuff at some point, I'm sure, and we're gonna do stuff with that, but I don't know what I want to do with the Open Series events, if I'm being honest, because Magic makes me feel unwelcome and unhappy. And I'm signing off for the day. I'll be back tonight with some Runeterra and maybe some more Magic.